I would like to call this regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen to order for Monday, October 7th, 2024. Thanks, everyone, for coming. Please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. My report for today, a couple of things. There's a state entity called DEMIS, and that stands for Department of Emergency Management and Homeland Security. That organization, filled with some pretty amazing individuals, actually, but they have been on top of all of the flooding that we had in that bad storm that was in August. As part of that, you may be aware that the president declared the affected counties in that region a disaster area. And so when that happens, it triggers a lot of federal assistance that's made available to help folks recover from that. So to the extent that you have a damaged business or home losses, anything like that, if you've got questions about that, be sure to just direct that to the Selectmen's office. We'd be happy to put you in touch with the folks who are doing that, but I was asked to make sure we had that word out. So we qualify for as much federal money as possible. I attended a hearing last Tuesday that was about a study that was done by WestCog. So WestCog is our Western Council of Government. It's our version of county government, if you will, in Connecticut. And WestCog convened a study for a noise abatement, and this was about putting a quiet zone on the New Canaan branch line. So this is the Metro North branch line that goes all the way up to New Canaan. There are some pretty loud horns on those trains these days, and a number of folks had asked about whether a quiet zone was possible, and the WestCog study took us through the mechanics of all that as to how that could be done. It's actually quite interesting. There are a number of specific requirements that the Federal Railroad Administration specifies for a quiet zone, and it is possible to put one of those in place. The next step is thinking about money. The estimates that we saw for a variety of things that would have to be put in place suggest that this could cost in excess of $20 million, so this is not trivial. The stops and the crossings are spread relatively evenly across Stamford, New Canaan, and Darien. None of those municipalities have made any commitment to funding at this time, but I volunteered to coordinate discussions on that. So in terms of just agenda review, one of the things I'd like to do to bring up to this board is to provide a little bit more information about that study, and then I'll go into some detail about the nature of those costs and how some folks are thinking about it. One potential idea for funding is what's called a special taxing district. And so this would be that for the debt that's incurred to fund those improvements, the folks who benefit from that would pay it. So there's a history of having done those types of things in the past, but more to come. I'll bring that up. Another one that's interesting that's come up is I've had a lot of questions about traffic safety in town. And so this ranges from speeding to running red lights to driving around school buses to things like bicycle and pedestrian safety. There's a lot of folks in town who are concerned about that. And I just want everybody to know that we are taking a look at it. There have been a number of suggested solutions to that folks have talked about. And so at some point, we'll have a more complete discussion of that with the Board of Selectmen, with professionals in the police department and others to brief us on some of the measures that have been put in place for speed management and what I would call sort of better road behavior. But more to come on that. We are going to be talking about that at more length in the future. A fun event, if you've not done it. So this past Saturday, I had a chance to go to the Chamber of Commerce's Oktoberfest at the Gardner Center right there on the Post Road. Great turnout for that event. It was fun to see folks in Lederhosen, and my favorite, though, was Bert von Stuppnagel, who was obviously from Germany, and of course he had the authentic Lederhosen on, and we were talking, and he says, you know, the beer is much better in Munich, and of course he said, but then only I would know that. So anyway, the entire event was terrific, and it's just a reminder that there's so many great things that you can do in Darien. Keep your eye on the calendar, both the municipal calendar as well as other organizations in town. And if you have a chance to go to these events, they're invariably a lot of fun, and it just brings the community together. And I just thought it was just a great time to go to something like that. Everybody had a swell time. A couple other things as a reminder about political signs. So the state of Connecticut has put out a note saying that we cannot have political signs on state-owned property. So I've seen actually a few signs that are at freeway entrances and like that. The state is going to take them down to the extent that anyone has their signs up on state highway property. That's a big no-no, and we would ask that you take those down. They're a potential distraction to highway traffic, and we cannot have that. In addition, I've gotten a few calls to the office about folks taking down opposition political signs. That's also a big no-no. These signs are out there for those candidates to promote themselves for this election. And if you've agreed to put that sign up in your yard and somebody takes that down, that's depriving you of your right to express your point of view about that candidate. So that kind of behavior doesn't belong in Darien. Maybe other towns do that, but let's not have that here. And I would ask everybody to refrain from that type of activity. I've had a young man come see me. He's a senior at Darien High School, Harris Cavana. Harris had the idea of potentially redesigning the town's flag. And so he has developed, along with a graphics artist, some potential flag samples for that. And so at the next in-person Board of Selectmen meeting, which will be in a month, I'm going to have him come in and present his ideas to this board. We're also going to syndicate them with a few folks, and I'll probably have them present them to the RTM as well. According to Wayne, the Board of Selectmen has sole purview over that. So if we decide we want to make a change in that regard, in terms of the look of the town flag, the Board of Selectmen actually does that. So anyway, I think he has some interesting ideas and taking a fresh look. One thing he did was to poll quite a few of his friends, family members, and a variety of other people on the flags that he came up with. And the flag that ranked dead last by far was our current flag. So anyway, more to come on that, and we'll take a look at that. But he's done a fine job on that, and it's good to have young people stepping up to get involved. I guess the only other thing to mention is that the town budget process is about to kick off. Jennifer may have more comments about that, but that's a movie we've seen before. The only thing I would ask of the Board of Selectmen members is this is a time for you to speak to people in your constituent groups and networks about things that you think will be a priority for the coming fiscal year, and to make sure we feed those to Jennifer and others and get that as part of the budget process. I know I've got a few myself, but let's definitely give that some thought in the coming weeks so we make sure we can transmit that to Jennifer and others. So that is all I had for my report. Any questions? Okay, board liaison reports. Mr. Burke.
The Blight Review Board met on September 11th. We reviewed 6 properties that are currently on the blight list. We also reviewed 3 that are on the watch list, if you will. They're not at a spot where they're incurring fines. As I said, we removed, happily we removed one home from the list that had cured its issues, and we continue to try to work with the homeowners where we can. We've invited a number of them who have had their homes on the list for an extended period of time to join us at our November meeting. It's the November meeting because when we send out the letters, you have to have a certain amount of days. So typically we'll be at a meeting, we'll say, let's have these good folks in, and then we don't have enough time to warn them, if you will. So it's the next meeting, which will be November. We also discussed, there have been some amendments to the state blight statute, which, if anything, really conform to our current one in the sense that they allow for blight presence or blight review of commercial properties, which is something that we've already done in Darien. The way the statute works is you can always do more in your municipality than the state standard, but not less. So the state is catching up to us a little bit, and there's some review of fines in the new state statute, which we're going to have Wayne at our next meeting to sort through a little bit, and that's where we're at.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. Marcy?
Sure, good. I have 2 reports. One's on Mental Health Task Force. We will be meeting as a whole group next week We did have an executive session a couple of weeks ago after the tragic suicide of a member of the New Canaan community, and kind of refreshed our memory on some things to do around town, bring up some ideas, some programming, and the whole board will meet again next week. They have done a mental health task force first aid training will be held on October 23rd and 24th at Post 53. It's an 8-hour course. I highly recommend it to anyone in town who has access to youth, and it's not just youth oriented, it's also adults. I think it's an incredible resource for anybody, whether you have someone in your immediate family or someone in your social network who is struggling with mental health, but it's a great way to learn how to identify that and then get help for someone. So it's a huge ping. Allie Ramsack does it here, and she does an amazing job. So I highly recommend anybody who hasn't taken it to please sign up. The next thing, and it will be our first business item this week, is we had our final Oxbridge Building Committee meeting, and we're able to close out that project. Tonight, hopefully, we will be able to hand that over to the Board of Education. Final costs have come in on that project. The total cost is $57,153,886, which is a little over $2 million under budget. It's phenomenal considering this project happened pre-COVID to be able to hit those budget marks. We are getting around $4.2 million back from the state. We've already collected about $3.5 million, and we're hoping to get some more back. Things are going great. Nothing but huge compliments from anybody who's using the school right now. People are really satisfied. It's beautiful. If you haven't had the opportunity to go there, if there's an event, I encourage you to go see the school. It is really state of the art. It's the cream of the crop of elementary schools in the state of Connecticut. So I enjoyed being on the committee. There were some really amazing contributors. A huge shout out to Kip Coons and to Rusty Schreiner, who really spearheaded the entire project. This has been going on since 2018, so we're proud of it, and we're excited for it to go on to the Board of Education and for them to enjoy all the thoughts that went into this project.
Congratulations, that's
Thanks.
fantastic.
Yeah,
Really,
exciting.
that's great. Good stuff. Monica?
Well, as many of you know, an appeal was filed on September 26th, challenging the tree warden's decision to remove trees along 23A. Town is working with legal counsel to address this appeal, and while this may introduce some delays, our goal remains to open up access to this incredible property that the town acquired almost 17 months ago, all while maintaining environmental sensitivity. Additionally, the polo match that was originally scheduled for October 26th has been postponed to a mutually agreeable date next spring. After discussions with the Hamlet polo team, we collectively agreed that postponing the event will help ensure the best experience for both the participants, that includes the ponies, and the public. As of last Thursday, over 1,200 people have completed the online survey.
Wow.
Yeah, it's incredible.
No kidding.
So that is, we don't need Reed Hildebrand to tell us that is an excellent response. So the survey is on greatisland-ct.com. Takes about 10 minutes to fill out, and it'll remain open until October 15th. We're also discussing, we've been currently discussing the possibility of allowing dogs on the island in some capacity. And we know there are strong opinions on both sides of this issue. So if you haven't taken the survey yet, please share your thoughts on this topic. There are plenty of blank spaces for you to write your own thoughts. So please do that. Your input will be carefully considered as we work toward a decision. And in addition, flyers with the QR code linking the survey have been posted at the entrances off the traffic circle on both of those roads, and also at Town Hall and at the train stations. And I want to thank, this was an idea that a resident brought forth, and I want to thank Tony for executing it. Thank you. So we're looking forward to a full analysis of the survey results from Reed Hildebrand at our next meeting, which has been rescheduled as a hybrid on October 17th, and that will give Reed Hildebrand a chance to process the data. They will also be providing updates on focus groups and direction for the next community engagement event, which is now scheduled for November 16th. Thank you.
Terrific, thank you. Sarah?
The Thriving Youth Darien meeting of the year, the first Thriving Youth Darien meeting of the year was on September 26th. They went over their mission for the year and some things such as the survey that is coming up for the Darien Public Schools. The students will be administered after January 2025. And they did some programming updates. There are a few events coming up. They are hoping that folks can go on the websites for ywca.org and then the Depot. There's some events that are coming up, such as a eating disorder awareness night. That would be tomorrow night, and then a parent talk about teen dating on Monday the 21st. And then there are some ongoing events through the Depot, such as the Lighthouse Group and the NAMI, the Parent and Caregiver Support Group. So I encourage folks to go on to the Darien Depot and the YWCA for more information. The next meeting is on November 14th. For the Hindley Homes and Royal Building Committee, we are moving forward. As everyone can see, there's construction happening. We're past phase 1A. All of the schools everyone seems to be moving along without any incident or delay, so it's exciting. We had reps at each of the open houses for the elementary school open houses, so it was nice. Parents came up, they were excited to hear more about it and ask questions, and so I think it was a good idea to have folks there. So things are going well. Our next meeting is on the 16th.
Excellent. Okay, thank you very much. All right, Jennifer, any public comments?
No.
No public comments, thank you. Okay, new business. Discuss and take action on a resolution formally accepting the Oxbridge Elementary School and its conveyance to the Darien Board of Education. So this is a resolution that we do for all such buildings that transfers it from the building committee, which is an entity chartered by the Board of Selectmen, to the actual Board of Education, which would then be responsible for operation and maintenance. And we have to have a resolution to approve that. Jennifer, have I left anything out?
No, you've covered it all.
I think I covered it all. So we have here a resolution that affects that. I won't read that all, other than to say that it recognizes that the building is complete and that the Board of Education will assume sort of full responsibility for all that. But may I have a motion, a motion for the resolution authorizing the transfer of the care, custody, and control of the Oxbridge Elementary School to the Darien Board of Education and referral of same to the representative town meeting of the town of Darien. May I have a motion for that? Mr. Burke, Marcy seconds. All in favor? Okay. Congratulations again on the completion of that building, and just again a shout out to Kip, to Rusty Schreiner, to Duke Deneen, who I knew spent a lot of time on this with them, and everybody who was on that building committee. What a phenomenal outcome to have not only not state class, but world class educational facility under budget, which, I mean, it's amazing. So thank you very much again. All right. Next item, discuss and take action on a request for a special appropriation of $89,115 to fund 2 full-time positions at the police department. Jennifer.
What you have before you is a request to use fund balance in the amount of $89,000 to fund a facilities coordinator and a facilities mechanic for 6 months. We anticipate hiring January 1st of 2025. So this is for 50% of the estimated salaries. At this time, we're not requesting any transfer for benefits or other costs, as we've experienced some savings in those areas from vacancies in other departments. Gentile's here. He's been working on this program and how it would work between the police department and Public Works.
Thank you. I've been in front of the Board of Selectmen for about 10 years, never have asked for additional positions, so I'm going to kind of wing what I think you want to hear from me and the information you'll hope make a decision. Let me just quickly go through my very short presentation here. And then open up to Q&A to you folks, if that's okay. So just to let you know who's with us tonight, we have Chief Marin, Facility Supervisor Anthony Campanella, and Captain Mastriani. The 5th member of our team, Captain Hudima, she could not be here tonight, but the 5 of us have been working on it with some input from the First Selectman and our town administrator also. So what we provided in the documentation is an overview of the necessary staffing and resources and DPW staff commitments that would be needed for the PD to continue to administer oversight for maintenance and operational management of the police department. Also included is some job descriptions and a request for two additional positions to make this reorganization work. A facilities coordinator and a facilities mechanic. This reorg will also allow us a more proactive approach to maintaining this building, which is something we've been striving to do, while creating opportunities to produce some savings through programming our capital projects better and preventive maintenance also. What that really is telling you is we've been struggling with this building since I've been here. I'll give you some insight to what that building is like and what it entails, but trying to provide the proper level of service for the police department has been a struggle for us based on the issues with the mechanicals, based on the issues with the building, and based on the issues with putting a new and an old building together, and I'll go over that briefly. So the DPW facility is 37,000 square feet. It's a little complex, and it has various systems included, a negative air pressure area for the firing range, and a exhaust system for mechanics bay. So this building sometimes fights itself on how to keep itself heated or cooled. It is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Only building in town that we have that does that. It has special requirements from the state as with regards to visitors that come into the building and prisoners, how they're taken care of, as well as how the officers are treated within the facility. Previously and currently, this building is being managed by the administrative captain. And I have to say, and we talked about this earlier with the captain and the chief, not their area of expertise. Taking care of a building is something you do and manage over time. These guys are great police officers, great administrators for that. The building needs someone with some technical background, technical expertise, if you will. So 2012, the building addition was completed. It incorporated new and old mechanical systems, but over the last 10 years, I've had issues with the HVAC system equipment between the new and old building compatibility, temperature balancing throughout the building, which caused condensation issues in the ductwork, wastewater line clogging numerous times, and the one that really caught me off guard when it started to happen, and it's happened very frequently, is the leaking of the water pipes up in the attic, all brand new pipes, leaking directly at the soldered joints, only to find out that the wrong solder was used for the copper piping. So we had gone back and we fixed those. And luckily, we do have on staff a facilities mechanic that can do all of it. But what it requires when we do all that is to shut that building completely down and drain the water out of the system and then fire it back up again. So that's been one of the things that's been ongoing too. So why new positions? Why add more personnel? Why full-time staffing additional? So this reorganization, a simple way to explain it was in the document I provided you the current DPW and police department responsibilities within the building to give you a better flavor of what we all do now. The additional staff requests came with job tasks as it was described in the document, and as Jen had said, will not start until January 1st if approved. We listed the PD special tasks and special specific building equipment. And we broke down for the two new positions time allocations at the PD. So you can see that they're going to be spending a lot of time there doing a lot of different things. Basically taking work and putting it basically where it belongs, in my opinion. So the new facilities coordinator has an estimated annual cost of $150,000. I'm going to say including benefits.
Yep.
Dedicated solely to the Darien PD facility. He'll oversee the building maintenance, operating budget, and capital plans. He'll also escort vendors and contractors throughout the building while there's building projects or during the process of bidding, something the police captain has to do, or my facility supervisor has to do. Somebody has to come and do that. Basically allowing the administrative captain to do the crucial police work that he's trained to do. Additional facilities mechanic. He'll work directly underneath our facility supervisor in DPW, He'll be dedicated, though, to 50% of his time to the PD, making sure that they get the technical support, pretty much what they have now. Providing additional support to other town facilities when he's not working there. So he's going to supplement the current facility mechanic. I don't say he's busy, but he is extremely busy. He has a lot of things that we're not getting done. This additional set of hands is going to help us catch up with a lot of the work, actually implement a lot of the capital work we're not getting done right now. Also, work with the contractors with the major capital projects is going to allow Tony Campanella and myself to step back a little bit from watching those projects also, which is what we're doing right now. And finally, provide the off-hour vacation support. There have been numerous times in the 8 years that our facility mechanic has been here that we actually had to call him on vacation to come in. And he's happy to do it. He's a Darien resident. He lives right down the street, but no one should have to do that. And I think this is kind of a trigger to let us know that, maybe we need an extra set of hands. So how did we get here? Why now? Why not through the simple budget process? So a transfer request was made in March of this year. Following that transfer request, an inquiry from our first selectman and a directive from the first selectman to come up with a better way. Look at a better approach. We should be more proactive. We should be out in front of these a little bit more. And I think the message was sent and received. But part of that transfer request, all 4 of them were major capital repairs. Things that if maybe we had better knowledge, if we had a better system and we were more proactive, maybe they would have been taken care of. I'm not going to say they all would have. The 911 server room or AC unit should never have failed, but it did. We had to rent a unit to keep that system up and running until it was replaced. The fire suppression system had to be upgraded. The hot water heater started to leak and fail. We were able to get a new one in place before it actually failed completely. And finally, the communication room, the bane of my existence, if you will. There is no way to control that temperature with a building facility. We had to put in 2 split units to actually control the heating and cooling in there because the computers get so hot. That room was calling for AC all the time where the rest of the building was fine. Now we're creating an imbalance across the building. So with that said, DPW, PD, Town Administrator, First Selectman, we met multiple times. We considered different approaches in addressing the needs for technical support over there. We looked at the town facility supervisor and myself taking on more responsibility. And I can tell you right now, I just don't have the bandwidth to do that, neither does Tony. We tried to explain how that just wouldn't work out well with us and our other projects that we're working on right now. We weighed the current and future workloads against our current manpower and considered capital projects that were either stalled or moving slowly due to lack of oversight. My one thing that I do here is I don't let contractors work by themselves. I don't just put them out there and let them go do the job and look at it later. That just starts a very bad trend where we're going and fixing things after they're done because contractors sometimes will miss something. Sometimes they won't do it the way it was supposed to be done, or they did it the way they thought it would be done. Having someone with technical oversight there all the time is something that I promote and is something that I strive to do. So in wrapping this up, it's my opinion that the police department, with this staffing effort that we're putting forward in this reorganization, will be able to manage that facility, with our help, of course. I'm not going to run away and hide. Tony's not going to run away and hide. Well, David will always be there. It'll just be having someone there to manage that building with technical support and providing another set of hands that we can use to supplement the work that needs to be done. And before I turn it over to the board, I just want to make sure I haven't missed anything or anything the town staff would like to add. I guess I did get everything.
Questions
Open to questions.
for Ed or the chief?
Yeah, just a couple quickly. So if I'm hearing you correctly, facilities person, a dedicated facilities person might have seen these pipes being installed in the attic and noticed that the wrong soldering material might have been used and saved us that problem. Is that one of the potential benefits?
Doing it during construction, a construction supervisor should have picked up on that, maybe would have picked up on that. the facility coordinator maybe would have noticed it as it started to leak, not after it done damage, that type of thing.
I mean, it appears to me that the need and the logic behind this is pretty clear. Do you have an idea of how you can quantify the effectiveness of this new role in terms of, dollars saved, or, projects or problems seen and resolved or mitigated earlier? Do you have an idea of how you might?
I mean, there's a couple things that you can look at. I think the one that triggered this was the transfers that came in as the emergency. So seeing less of those. The direct impact, I have to say, he's sitting right here right now. He'll be able to tell you if that weight has been lifted off his shoulder to the point where he's being able to do the police work that he's been trained to do, and maybe not being able to get to all of it or getting to it in a slower fashion. That's going to be definitely a way. Can I put a dollar value to that? I can't. But definitely looking more proactive to doing preventive maintenance, having someone in that building 24/7, making sure they're checking everything that's going on, managing the custodians, so that's something that the captain's not doing. It's all taking it and putting it in the right place. So the quantification is going to come on the end where, are we getting capital work done before it's needed, or in an emergency and having to hire at a higher price?
My only thought, and then I'll let everybody else go with their questions, is that, typically with new positions and creations and job descriptions, you want to have a way to manage the effectiveness of it, so we can say after a year or two or three that, this has really worked out well, and these are the saves, and yes, our officers are free to do these other things that they should be doing, but just so a way that we can see that and not just approve this and then off into a void.
Understand.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's actually a reasonable point, and maybe it would be things like problems discovered that were avoided, to your point, and maybe we still had to spend money to fix that problem, but didn't have to deal with the damage that, for example, we'd had to pay for when those pipes were discovered after they started leaking, that type of thing. So maybe there's a little survey or log that the person could keep that would help us just track that and paint that success story, say 2 or 3 years from now. It's not unreasonable.
I mean, one of the things that we do around here, and we constantly check ourselves, is maintenance contracts, right? And if you know what you're buying, know when they're supposed to be here, that's one of the most difficult things to do, especially with a building, because it's not just one, it's multiple tests in different areas, whether it's fire suppression, elevators, electrical, plumbing, whatever it may be. Special equipment in the mechanics bay, lifts, things like that, all have maintenance attached to them, along with inspections and so on. So those are things that it's difficult for an administrative person like the captain here to be thought that he could do that.
Marcy?
Yeah, sure. Preventative maintenance, obviously, is smack down going to hit the bottom line. I'm a huge supporter of that, especially in my industry in machining. If you have a machine down and you've got other people working on it, preventative maintenance would have caused that to help. Do you see that there's overtime hours that are being distributed throughout your organizations that are going to be impacted by this? Do you think we'll save some overtime hours? I mean, if you got officers who are helping with, preventive maintenance issues or contracting issues, or even yourself or any of your staff members, are they running over there doing overtime hours to do some of this maintenance work that's going to be eliminated?
I don't know if it's the maintenance work itself, but maybe the responses to the
Okay.
emergencies.
Okay.
We see a lot of overtime. Dave sees a lot of overtime going over there, whether it's holidays or weekends. Making sure that system, and I'd say, knock on wood, 90% of the time he can get the system back up and running for us. But it's a call now to the HVAC to call train or call. Now they're coming down on a holiday. He has to wait there for them. So is it something that we could have caught before and done through a preventive, more active and aggressive preventive maintenance? Absolutely.
I agree. Okay, thank you.
Other questions, Sarah? Or Monica, go ahead.
So I know in Town Hall, we're pretty tight on space. I'm guessing that you have space for another FT?
Yes, we do.
Right, okay.
We have ample office space.
Okay. And then my real question is, we've had a lot of change, right, in the police department and in town hall. And I really need to understand who is going to be working on the budget, the operating and the capital. It says here that the new coordinator will be doing that? Okay,
He'll be assisting as
Okay.
far as facility maintenance goes in that field of the budget, but I will be still maintaining that responsibility of the operating and capital budget.
okay. Thank you,
That's going unchanged.
thank
Yeah,
you.
just to be clear, the buck still stops with you on all facilities oversight. You're
That's
just
correct.
going to have a professional come in and report to you.
Correct. I'll essentially be taking on 2 additional employees, if you will.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sarah?
I'm going to preface my comments by saying I support this. The amount of money that's been spent since this renovations in that building, I am scared to know. It is stunning to me. I support the 90,000. I do think there's a need for it. That building is complex. It is constantly, open, and I get it. The idea, I think, of adding another 300,000 to next year's budget is tough. I think these are needed things.
Okay.
I think it's tough financially, but I support it. I think we need it. Everyone has been doing 17 jobs, and we need somebody who can maintain that. You need people to do what you need to do, and they need people to maintain your facility. So,
Yeah, this all came about because on the one hand, you've got Public Works saying, look, this is completely untenable. It's a part-time
Yeah.
thing for us to go over and manage the most complex building in town.
Yeah.
Right, and then you've got these gentlemen here who are trying to oversee all this while you've got everything else going on. It's just not working. And so that's really was the catalyst for this
Understood.
discussion. And I think as much as we don't want to spend money unnecessarily, if I had to pick an area to spend money that's at the top of the list that will rationalize the work for these gentlemen, but also rationalize the work for Public Works, which, given the added responsibilities of Great Island, which are only going to grow, as well as a variety of other complexities, it's simply untenable. And so this is a great solution because it puts Public Works professionals in the police department for you to oversee directly and get what you need in terms of the service and utilization of that building. It's set up to where it retains a link to our existing Public Works team. To your point, you're not just going to cut and run. This person will be part of your network. There'll be regular consultations. It's part of the family, even though it's working and helping the chief and the captain. And so it really blends the best of both worlds. You got a professional in place that reports to you guys, so you get the building that you need for your work. And, well, it renders, not completely sane, but more sane, your job and Tony's job. So for those reasons, I'm very supportive of this. I genuinely believe this will solve this problem. Other questions? Okay, could I have a motion to approve a transfer from fund balance to the account shown here to fund the half-year salary or half-year compensation for the Public Works professionals to hire into the police department? Yes. Monica's going to move that. Mike seconds, all in favor? Okay, gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, discuss and take action on a request to accept the donation of a vehicle to At Home in Darien. Jennifer.
At Home in Darien is, they've raised money to purchase a van estimated at $65,000. And because they operate it, but the vehicle is registered to the town and insured by the town, they need to donate it to us. The gift value that you're allowed to accept is up to $12,500. So this will also have to go to the RTM. And Chris Jones is here if you have any questions.
Any questions on this, Monica? Chris, come on up.
Hey, Chris.
Chris likes to talk, so he's excited.
Yeah, do I have to raise my hand or anything?
Okay, I have two. One is easy. Who's going to do who pays for the maintenance?
Well, as you know, our vehicles are maintained at the town, so I love hearing the capacity to do more. But with the new vehicle, we'll be under warranty for a while, so we'll have Ford maintain that car.
Okay.
It would be a Ford Transit van, 12-seat Ford Transit van.
And then are you, with this new vehicle, are you expanding your services in some way? Offering
Yeah,
something
it's been
different?
a real big focus. Right now, most of our service, 9 to 4, Monday to Thursday, and 9 to 1 on Fridays. Most of what we do, transportation-wise, medical appointments, kind of one person going to one destination, and that's great. We've grown, we continue to add more rides, but we've heard more and more from seniors that they wanted to do some things and engage with other seniors after hours. Could we drive after hours? And that really didn't make sense with the current vehicles. We'd be like Uber. So really about a year ago, we started looking at the opportunities to get seniors together, and the list is it's not endless, but it's pretty long. Monday night at the movies, getting 12, 14 seniors together to go there, going to restaurants. So it would be something completely different than what we're doing today, and it would really be focused on attacking isolation and loneliness.
I have an idea. How about some tours on Great Island?
You know, that would be perfect.
Yeah.
Sold.
All right, let's do that.
Absolutely. And, you know, we want to work with other organizations. I've spoken to the Darien Men's Association. They're interested. So again, it'd be a long list of things that we could do, and we would love to do. You know, our rides, everything we do, there's no cost to the seniors. So, you know, we want to keep that going, even with the passenger van. So we're very excited about that.
Well, please thank your donors. It's really, really appreciated.
Yeah, I would add to that. Transportation has got to be really one of the key things that help seniors stay in town, especially when they're past their days where they feel like they can drive safely. And to have an asset or service like what I mean, it's absolutely terrific. So a big thank you to you, your donors, and anybody who's involved in trying to support At Home Darien. It's a terrific thing about this town.
Great. Well, thank you. Thank you for the partnership with the town. It's a long history of partnering with the town, and we're very excited about where we're going, you know, with this van, if we can get it.
And then just so everybody knows, we are working separately on just a memorandum of understanding between the town and At Home Darien, just to codify all this in terms of who's paying for what, the relationships, and just paper all that. And we'll get that up at a future board meeting, but we're fiddling with that, and we'll get that done. So other questions for Chris or about this? Okay, motion to approve acceptance of this gift and recommend same to the RTM. Marcy moves, Monica seconds, all in favor? Terrific. Thank you, Chris.
Great. Thank you.
That's great. Okay, last item in new business, discuss and take action on proposed Great Island rules and regulations and access improvement costs.
So in preparation for opening additional areas on Great Island for residents to visit, the Great Island Advisory Committee reviewed the necessary improvements and actions to ensure a careful and a safe expansion. So we identified 10 areas of the property, like the boathouse and the beach house, and the committee divided actions into those required before public access is allowed and those that will need attention in the near future after that. They looked at things like roping off different areas, signage, placing garbage cans, things like that. Based on the quantity of these items and recent costs, such as the signage for the bridle trail, we estimated a budget of $25,000 to cover both these immediate actions that are required to open up additional spaces and also addressing the near-term needs. With 7 of 9 members present, on September 30th, the committee voted unanimously to recommend that the Board of Selectmen approve the proposed rules, change and access requirements, along with the $25,000 budget to complete those necessary improvements for the expanded access. Additionally, during our previous discussions, we amended the rules to remove the temporary dog access. However, the original rule stating no pets, including dogs, are allowed at this time was not reinserted. So to maintain clarity and consistency with our original intent, I would like to propose an amendment to restore that language as part of the approved rules. Thank you.
Comments?
Yeah, just, I'm a member of the committee, and just for further background, we discussed the dog issue at length. We had a vote about removing the provision allowing dogs for a limited period of time, and the vote to remove the language was passed, I think, by 5-2 vote with 2 members participating in the meeting but unable to vote because they were participating via telephone. And I think it was the feeling of the committee that while there's great interest in having dogs up there and having them up as soon as possible, that giving our residents the opportunity to be heard a little bit further on this issue, and also giving the opportunity for Reed Hildebrand, our consultants, to opine was of benefit. And I mention this only because in the interim, members of the committee have gotten emails from probably upwards of 70 residents for allowing dog access, maybe 3 against it. And I want to communicate to those individuals that we read our emails, we hear our emails, and it's the intention of the committee to revisit the dog access, if you will, issue as rapidly as possible.
So,
Good
Sarah,
point.
please. Yeah, thank you for that.
So I guess I'm confused. Like everyone else, I've gotten a lot of people reaching out. I have people reaching out privately, through my town email address, personally, trying to figure out, like, when can we allow dogs? So are you saying that you want to put language back in that says no dogs allowed? Because you also said 2 minutes ago you'd like to allow for that to happen in the future. So I'm confused because we do have a survey out, and I would bet that there's a lot of comments that are going to come back saying we want dogs. So I'm confused as to the direction. If there's a lot of positive, movement towards dogs, but then we're putting language back in that says no dogs allowed. So,
Right, let me explain that. So the original rules had that in there, and we took that out and we put in a clause about temporarily allowing dogs. So now we're pulling that clause. So in effect right now, somebody could say, dogs must be allowed because it doesn't say anything. So what we're looking to do now is put something before the Great Island Committee so that they can finish these actions so that we can open up the additional access, and simultaneously we'll be working on the dog issue. But right now, if we want to approve these rules, we need to address that because that's blank. Does that make sense?
it does. I am stunned, I think, at the volume of feedback I'm getting myself about dogs, so I can imagine the amount that
You know
you're
what?
getting.
And I'm sure we all are.
Yeah.
And, I welcome it. I think it's terrific that people are reaching out. I hope they continue to. And like I said, you can, if you haven't taken the survey, you can take that opportunity to share your thoughts there. But if you want to keep emailing Great Island Advisory Committee, we read them all. And we'll be taking all of that under consideration for sure. And we'll be looking at addressing this sooner rather than later.
Can you, in light of that, would it be possible to maybe come up with a date that
Yeah.
you can tell people that you are going to be making a decision by this particular date, or having a discussion on this particular date, so that folks know that it will be happening?
So, like I just said before, we've had 1,200 responses to the
Understood,
survey
understood.
as of last Thursday. So the survey closes on the 15th. We will definitely be discussing this on the 17th.
Okay.
We will be looking for Reed Hildebrand's input on the 17th. There is nothing the committee would like to do more than to make a decision on this. But I don't feel comfortable putting a date certain on it right now. Just feel comfortable that it's in everybody's
Maybe
best
by the end of the
interest.
year?
Oh, yes.
You're waiting, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would think. yeah.
Great.
Yeah, just to be clear about what we're talking about on these rules. So if you've seen them, they're with the Board of Selectmen, agenda materials for this meeting posted on the town website. But basically what these rules do is they open up the entire island to access, right? There's a few things that you can't do. You can't go inside any buildings, right? So we're not going to permit that just yet. We don't want any vehicles on the island, so there's still no cars, but importantly, there's no bicycles, scooters, motorized equipment, no electric or gas-powered scooters, that sort of thing. There's an exception, obviously, for motorized wheelchairs, but we're still maintaining the general prohibition on any kind of vehicular traffic. The only folks who can bring vehicles on the island are going to be contractors, town employees, and the like. And so please take a look at these rules. As has been said, we're going to have additional discussions around access for dogs on the island. I'll reiterate that, yes, we've had a ton of input on that, and the vast majority of the input we're receiving is in favor of dogs. But the way this is going to work is there's a process, and to get to good decisions on this, we just need a little time for that process to work. And Monica's already outlined the next steps in that process, which is let's take a look and see what the survey results say. To Sarah's point, it's probably going to be overwhelmingly in favor of dogs. But Reed Hildebrand is going to have a chance to present those results and also give us perspective on how they've seen dog access rolled out at the many hundreds of other municipal properties that they've developed in their professional careers. And so what we want to do is we want to have this just right, so when we roll this out, we know we've got rules in place that make sense, that are consistent with the absolute best practice we see in other municipal facilities. And if we do this right, then we're not going to have to go back and change something which would make matters worse. So we would just ask for everyone to have just a bit of patience. I'd like to see us vote to approve these broader access rules tonight. And close on the tail of this is going to be a discussion about dogs, and we will get that resolved just as soon as humanly possible. Let this process work, give us a little bit of time, and we'll get that. One of the things just to mention about this is on the back side of these rules, this is a list of things that we need to do to enable this broader access. And so it's things like a few repairs, a few holes plugged, a few pipes removed, a few other danger spots covered, and importantly, a lot of signs on the property to make sure that we've put the appropriate warnings in place for folks who are going to have broader access to the island. My vote would be that we approve these rules, but we remand the implementation date back to the Great Island Committee so that when they certify that all this work's been done to their satisfaction, they can implement the rules and open the island. And just let the committee decide by looking at that work and say the minute it's done and the signs are up to their satisfaction, that this already has Board of Selectmen approval and they can move ahead, would be my recommendation. Anyway, other reactions, thoughts, any of this?
Just at your meeting on the 17th, I think you said, is there an opportunity for public comment at those meetings?
Yeah,
so if anybody does want to come and...
We had 40 minutes of public comment last time.
Okay.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah.
We encourage that. Bring it.
Yeah.
I just want to add the description of the work, just so folks know. A number of members of the committee were tasked by Monica to actually go and walk through that island and physically go and look and see and figure out what made sense. I applaud that effort. These recommendations were the result of some serious hard work, and I can say that because I know I had nothing to do with it. So I know this was, serious work, and some of our really bright members of the committee went and thought very, studiously about what made sense to put here. So these action items, this description of work, which then the committee vetted at our last meeting, is a really nice, piece of work.
Yeah, and a special thanks to Jim Palin, Dan Kolakowski, and Bruce Ferguson. Those three guys spent a ton of time on all this, and we've made great progress. I think it'll be terrific to have the island opened up like this, and if we can get our last bit of access with regard to dogs decided, this will be, I think, a real success for the whole town to see this all completed. Okay.
So wait, I just want to make sure that everybody understands, until these items are done, the island, the access has not changed.
Yep.
So it's
there's
still.
nothing in here that has changed from what was
Yeah.
previously done?
There are areas that will be open, but they're not open now, even after our actions tonight. They will not be open until these remediation actions are taken. And Jen did take a look at these, and you are satisfied that these protect us? This is adequate? Okay.
Yeah.
So as long as that's just understood for the public.
Okay. So I think what we need is maybe two motions. One motion would be to amend these rules to include a seventh item under general that says the same language we had before. No pets, including dogs, are allowed on the property at this time. So we need to include that just to complete the rules so that they'll be in place. Again, for the viewing public, we fully expect to have this addressed in short order, but we need to go through this process, which will not take long. So that's the first thing I think we need a motion for. So could I get a motion to approve that amendment to add number 7 to the general rules? No pets, including dogs, are allowed on the property at this time. Marcy moves, Monica seconds, all in favor. Okay. Second motion we need is to approve the broadened rules and access requirements as amended, with the stipulation that the effective date will be determined by the Great Island Committee once it is satisfied that the work required for this improved access is completed.
And 25,000.
Okay. Do we need to have a motion for that, Jennifer? I thought that was already appropriated.
It's already appropriated, so it's really informational that that's what you expect to spend on
Well,
it.
actually, since it's appropriate, we did set that as a budget, so let me amend that. So could I get a motion to approve the Great Island access rules as amended, and to instruct the Great Island Committee to set the effective date based on when they determine that the work required for this access is completed, and that the budget for that work should not exceed $25,000. Monica moves, Mike seconds, all in favor? Okay, thank you. All right. Old business. Update on the status of committee appointments. So I prepared a simple slide here. So these are all of the town's appointed boards, appointed committees, appointed commissions, and even appointed advisory committees that we have outstanding on this page. And what you see here is a list of each, and in the colored boxes, the text in red are the committees and boards that we still have to address in terms of updating appointments. So you can see we are definitely making progress, and I expect in the next few months we will have all of this finished. The reason for bringing it up just to your attention, it was really to provide a status update on where we are. We've got a few appointments that we'll clean up tonight with a few votes here shortly, where we've already done the interviews. I'd like to propose a couple of additional actions. You'll see on here that I've got in the dark blue box a grouping of appointed boards. I would propose that we schedule for these boards and commissions, beginning January 1st, an annual update of them to the Board of Selectmen. We've done some work recently that surfaced a concern that some of these boards and commissions felt like they didn't have a close enough connection with the Board of Selectmen in terms of alignment between where we are and what their missions and focus is. So I think by having an annual discussion with them, just to have a dialogue, get to know the members better and the chairs, I think would benefit not just these boards and commissions, but the whole town. So what you'll see is I've taken a subset of the boards and commissions that I think are appropriate for that. If you look on the right, obviously we wouldn't do it with elected boards, but there's some other boards and commissions that I don't know that we really need to have an update from them on an annual basis, but I could change that. So if you take a second and just look at the list of boards not included: Architectural Review Board, TV 79, Building Board of Appeals, EPC, obviously Great Island Advisory Committee, Operations Planning Committee, Police Commission, Sewer Commission, Youth Commission. I don't think any of those really need to come before the Board of Selectmen, simply because it's pretty clear what they're focused on. But the others that I've got listed there, I think we really could benefit from that. So again, my recommendation is we're about to determine our calendar for next year, is that we take some dates out of that to work with the chairs of those boards and commissions and set time for each of them to come by and see us for 15, 20-minute update over the course of the next calendar year. One other change that I'd like to do is that we have something called advisory committees, and these are special committees that are chartered by the Board of Selectmen. They're unique in the sense that they are just for one-year terms, and so it would require us reappointing them every year. I kind of think it would be better to treat them like some of these other boards and commissions, to where unless we decide we just don't want the board anymore, or that committee anymore, let's just set them up to where they have 3-year staggered terms like we have everybody else, and we'll start that this coming year with the reappointments to these committees. And I'll work out a schedule to show you next time about how we might redo that. And then I also think these advisory committees, particularly because they were chartered by us, should come and provide updates to this board as well. And then for all the rest of the boards and commissions, including the elected boards, no formal action. We'll just stay in touch with the leaders of those boards and then try to stay up to date on appointments. So that was the update I wanted to provide. I don't think there's anything to vote on because we don't have a calendar, but I wanted to get a sense from you if any of you think that anything on this page needs reshuffling, let me know, but I'll come up with something formal later.
I wanted to ask a question that may be tangential, and I apologize for this. I think I know we were a little behind on doing some appointments, so I think we've been doing a good job, I think, with our second meeting, doing the interviews, which is great. Have we been focused on maybe grouping the interviews together? So if we focus on one committee at a time, because I know I've gotten a little feedback that maybe we're a little behind on some commissions and appointments, but I'm thinking, okay, but if we do all of this committee or commission in this meeting and then we focus on another one, are you grouping them together, or are you doing them one
That's a good question.
piecemeal?
I had a grouping that had sustainability, environmental protection, and beautification all in one group because it kind of felt the same. But the Democratic Town Committee got all the candidates organized. The Republican Town Committee did not.
No. I'm just wondering. Okay, go
Let me
ahead.
finish my point. And so I was going to try to get that entire group at once because we actually had some reshuffling among a couple of the groups. They're all
Yeah.
kind of thematically the same, and I couldn't pull it off. And so the last time we did it, I actually just went to boards and commissions that happened to be ready with appointments, and we could interview and be done with it. And so that's actually ended up what has been my grouping, which is whoever's ready, that's what we're going to do. It's not any more complicated than that. But if
No,
you've got a
I
suggestion,
think the
I'd love to
question
hear it.
was, look, I'm not staring at the list that I know Linda owns as far as like who's got appointments and when and so forth. Is it that, do we have, 17 different re-upping dates on every single committee and commission? Should they be, they're all up for interview in March of 25 for this particular board so that it's not,
Yeah, I was trying to get them all done by board as opposed to.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To
as
make our
opposed to
lives
sorting-
easier?
As opposed to sorting them all by kind of members and their expiration dates. Most of the individuals actually are under expired dates anyway, so it kind of doesn't matter in that sense.
Yeah.
That's a good suggestion. I'll call you about that. Maybe we can chat for a few minutes.
Because I'm wondering if that
It
make
might
things
speed it
easier.
up or speed it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair suggestion. I'll call you about that. Anyway, more to come on that. We've got a few appointments tonight, but I just want to let you know what we got. Yes.
I just have two questions. One is the advisory. Are you going to ask them if they actually want a 3-year? If they've committed to a year-to-year? So are you going to give an individual committee an opportunity to stick with the 1 year if they want?
I could do that. It just adds to our workload to keep
Right.
continually reappointing them. I find that a year in this place goes like that.
Right.
So I'll ask them to do that.
I
To
just
your
don't
point,
want- yeah.
to your point, if they refuse and would prefer simply not to, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, just so we don't
Yep.
lose people. And then the other thing is, I know that aging, there was some discussion about adding 2 people to that.
I have not had a proposal from them to do that. We did
Okay.
discuss that. I'll call Joe and ask him that.
Okay.
All right. Transfers. Number 1, discuss and take action on a request to transfer $11,556 to fund various full-time salary accounts. Jennifer.
Last month, you approved about $113,000 transfer from the general fund for non-representative and part-time salaries. I had a calculation error. I calculated it based on 26 pay periods, and we actually have 26.1 pay periods in the year. So to cover that extra 0.1 pay period, we need an additional transfer that totals $11,556 spread across various departments.
Motion to approve that transfer. Sarah moves. Mike seconds. All in favor? Okay, thank you. Second one is discuss and take action on a request to reallocate $552,518.86 of ARPA funds. I'll preview that. One of the things I've worried about for a while is that I don't want to lose any ARPA funding. And the rules on this are pretty specific. The funds have to be spent by the end of this year. If not spent, they need to be encumbered. And once they're encumbered, they have to be spent within 2 years of that. And the rules are very clear about that. And what we said, when was this, Jennifer, earlier this summer, I told all the department heads and anybody who had ARPA money that they were going to spend, that I wanted that money spent or encumbered by October 1st. And there was no grace period on that. So what you're seeing here is that, and it's not meant to be critical. In some cases, it was just simply impossible to get that done. What you're seeing here is a list of monies we're going to pull. There's a schedule of the $552,000 about how we're going to reallocate it and a schedule of where it comes from. But I was clear I don't want to lose any ARPA money, which is why I set that deadline. And Jennifer, I'll let you take it from there.
So the biggest sources for that funding is actually from the Fire Commission. They had the challenge of how to sequence the work that they were doing up at the drill tower. So what we are reallocating from them is the $140,000 that was appropriated for paving at the drill tower, because that will never get done. They will never meet the deadlines. And $120,000 from the drill tower classroom. They opened bids on 9/19, but were able to get to a contract and be able to encumber funds by 10/1. So actually, the next transfer addresses that so that they can move forward with that project. Those are the two largest items. Some smaller ones are coming from DPW on the drainage projects and the bridge repair for Rings End Bridge and the DPW garage floor, which is actually complete. They're closing out the project on that one. Those are the main sources. The rest are kind of odds and ends, little bits of leftovers. The second page that you had for this item shows where we want to appropriate those funds. What we looked at were kind of three items. What can be purchased immediately? So it's either on a state bid, so we don't have to conduct the bid, or it's pre-bid through a purchasing cooperative, or in the case of a park and rec item, it can be bid very quickly. The other items that we looked at were if we can provide any budgetary relief in the next year. So there's a couple where we're pulling projects forward from 26, providing a little bit of budgetary relief. And then the final criteria was access to new amenities, so particularly the Baker Park playground. So what we're looking to do at Baker Park is a cement walkway and some matting to make the access ADA compliant, so that everyone will be able to use the new amenity, as well as they need an additional $9,000, almost $9,000 for the installation of the equipment. So we're going to make Baker Park playground accessible, fully installed with these funds. Then we have a series of vehicles. DPW took a look at all of our vehicles and made some recommendations. In total, we're looking at 5 vehicles. 4 would be hybrids. 1 would be a pickup truck for the park and rec supervisor, and not park and rec, but the parks side of it. And with these new vehicles, the existing vehicles could get pushed down, and we would be able to get rid of some older vehicles. Then we're looking to purchase a mobile generator for DPW. It's about $80,000, and this is something that they can tow behind, so if power is out at a pump station, they can bring it on site. Anywhere in town that a generator is needed, it'll be mobile, they can bring the generator. A couple of items that we're looking to pull forward from fiscal 26, some additional hose replacement for DFD, replacement of the Holohan backstop. Jen Fava has taken a look at that and agrees that it needs to be done. Some turnout gear for the fire marshal. And then kind of a new initiative that we want to pilot is providing laptops with port replicators to replace desktops for some employees so that they can have the flexibility to just take their work laptop home with them, take it on conference travel, that sort of thing. So start piloting that, see if that's something we want to switch to instead of the desktop replacement. Essential needs, we want to reappropriate unspent funds from mental health and food insecurity. Ally can definitely spend the essential needs, and that will actually free up some money in the general fund. And then our final one is the sewer I&I project. And this is going to be kind of our catch-all. It's already bid, it's already awarded, and it is far in excess of what we need. So right now we're looking to put about $147,000 towards that. And then as we go through this again and things close out and we have little odds and ends, we can reallocate them to the sewer I&I, because Ed has about over $600,000 that's still outstanding on that project. So it'll meet the obligation deadline and it'll definitely get spent.
So basically, we will spend every last penny.
Yes.
All right. So I just wanted to thank,
Good job.
I just want to thank you. I mean, the creativity of that plug is a bad word, but I will use it anyway to make sure we don't lose any money. And the other thing is that, if it's not clear, this is not new spending. What we're doing is, to your point, pulling stuff from next year's budget, or these are all things that were on our list that needed to get done in any case. It's just ensuring that we spend it using ARPA funds so we don't lose the money, as we've all said before. So I think this is a great solution and checks the box on making sure ARPA's done and dusted, as they say. So, questions?
Great job,
Outstanding.
Jen.
Yeah, well
Okay.
done, Jeff.
Where is there a transfer on this, or?
I don't have an actual transfer form, so it'd be
Just can I get a-
motion to
Yeah, can I-
reallocate 552,000 of ARPA.
Exactly. Can I get a motion to reallocate $552,518.86 of ARPA funds to the proposed expenditures that Jennifer has just explained? Sarah moves. Monica seconds. All in favor? All right, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item, discuss and take action on a request to transfer $135,000 for a drill tower classroom. Jennifer.
So, because we just took their money away, but they have bids. The Fire Commission has a traffic preemption system upgrade that they've been working on for a couple of years. It was originally budgeted 300,000. They've spent about 41,000. They have about another 120 or 130 encumbered for work that needs to be done, but the rest is available. They have some other traffic preemption ideas that they might want to do, but a more pressing need is to take care of the drill tower classroom. So what we're looking to do is transfer the unused funds from the traffic preemption project over to the drill tower classroom for a total of 135. The bid was in at 98, but they are requesting extra funds for, we all know things are going to come up, moving underground drainage and pipes, installation of electrical, water, and sewer lines, that sort of thing. So we want to use unused funds that are already appropriated to cover the drill tower classroom that can't be done through ARPA. And Sean Murphy from the Fire Commission is here.
Sean, thanks for coming.
Sure.
So Sean, where is this new classroom located exactly?
It's going to be at our training grounds, which is at 126 Ledge Road.
Okay.
Which is at the town dump on the top side. You'll
Got
see
it.
the concrete building up there as
Yep.
everybody goes to the transfer, dumps their garbage out.
Okay, that's where
it
it'll
is.
be located.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
terrific. And timing as to when it would be completed?
We're hoping to do the foundation site work. Like Jen said, we had it bidded out. Contractors are ready to go. We're hoping to start as soon as possible. So hopefully before the winter, before like
Okay.
December, so.
Monica?
Sean, why didn't you include the other, the drainage and all of that in the original bid?
Well, we only had 120 for ARPA, and we weren't sure, timing-wise, what the actual number was going to come back for the project between the site work and the concrete work. So we weren't, just the timing wasn't, it was just a rush on our end, and we just didn't know the numbers yet. So now with this extra 30,000 or so, we're hoping to do the water line, the power, stuff like that. There's some pipes that gotta get moved up there, which we know, catch basin work, stuff like that, so.
Okay. Is that enough money to do that if we haven't uncovered some of the issues that may occur, such as water?
The water, as far as like drinking water, portable water, or
I don't know,
like,
you said you're not sure. Like, I'm just concerned, we open a wall and then we have to fix it.
yeah, exactly. There's water up there, there's a fire hydrant up there, so we can just tap right into as far as drinking water and
Okay.
like washing and stuff like that. The sewer line actually cuts right through the drill tower, so we can tie right into that.
Okay.
We have power already up there for the lights and stuff like
Okay.
that. So all of the utilities are there.
Okay.
We just have to
Matter of tapping into it.
get right to it, yeah, exactly. So, the classroom concept's been around since 2018. We've been trying to, it's been in the 6-year plan. We tried getting the portable classrooms from home school. We thought that was gonna be a score for us. When they went to go move the portable classrooms, yeah, it didn't, yeah, exactly.
They had outlived their useful life.
They did, exactly.
Darien does not do well with portable buildings, so.
So this would get the project going as far as concrete work, site work. Will be coming to the boards, obviously, for the building portion of it. So this coming budget will be coming to the board for an actual building to put on the foundation.
Is this like a modular building that's coming in, or are we building it like from scratch?
So the commission's looking at both.
Okay.
Right now, we're trying to see which way is gonna fit our needs as far as a metal butler building, and then finish the inside, or a modular home, you know.
How big is this space?
So we have right now a 60 by 40 foundation. If you go up there, there's a whole parcel of grass there that's just unused.
Okay.
And, you know, a lot of other communities are coming into town to actually use our facilities. So we're getting income for the building. So the
So you just
classrooms.
rent that space?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
We do it to other fire departments
Okay.
in the surrounding area. And we go as far as the Weston Fire Department comes down. A lot to use. And also state programs, Fire 1, Fire 2.
Okay.
It's a great location, a great asset for the town and the fire departments. So we're very fortunate to have this facility, you know, up here. You know, to travel up I-95 to go to these other facilities. It's asking a lot for the firemen, you know, the firefighters to do. So.
Other questions? I personally, I think this is a great addition to our fire protection assets and an important one, so I'm very supportive. All right, no other questions for Sean. Could I get a motion to approve a request to transfer $135,000 for a drill tower classroom? Sarah moves, Marcy seconds, all in favor? All right, thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Okay, we've got some appointments to take care of. There's my list of appointments. Okay, so these are individuals that we have interviewed in our previous meeting in executive session for a variety of boards and committees, so we will formalize those appointments tonight. Can I get, and I'll just go through these since we've already met with these individuals. The first one is to vote to reappoint Peter Van Winkle to the Sewer Commission for a term ending December 31st, 2025. Sarah moves, Mike seconds, all in favor? Great. Second one is to reappoint Captain Sue Ann Shore to the Monuments and Ceremonies Commission with a term ending November 30th, 2027. All in favor, or motion to approve? Monica moves, Sarah seconds, all in favor? Okay. Third one is to appoint Al Briganti to the Government Access TV 79 Commission with a term ending December 21st, 2024. Sarah moves, Monica seconds, all in favor? Next is to appoint Zach Fleitman to the Youth Commission for a term ending March 31st, 2025. Monica moves, Sarah seconds, all in favor? Okay. Next is to reappoint Joe Pankowski to the Commission on Aging for a term expiring March 31st, 2027. Mike moves, Marcy seconds, all in favor? Next is to reappoint Jim Metzger to the Commission on Aging for a term expiring March 31st, 2025. Mike moves, Marcy seconds, all in favor? And lastly is to reappoint Sue Oki to the Commission on Aging for a term expiring March 31st, 2026. Sarah moves, Monica seconds. Okay, thank you. Just a thank you to these individuals and all folks who serve in a volunteer capacity on these boards and commissions. It really is important. And please know, I think I speak for everybody when we say we really appreciate your service. So thank you. Okay, we've got some minutes to approve. First one is for the September 23rd regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen. Wasn't one of those a special meeting? I guess they were both regular.
The second one, the 23rd was the executive session.
Yeah, hold on.
Right. The 9th was regular.
Oh, I lost my minutes. Oh, here they are. All right, so the 9th, yeah, so let's do the 23rd first. This is a regular meeting for the Board of Selectmen for September 23rd, 2024. I read through it and didn't have any changes. Didn't even have any edits. Motion to approve. Sarah moves. Mike seconds. All in favor? Okay. And then for the special meeting on September 9th, 2024, motion to approve.
It's a regular meeting.
It is a regular meeting. Okay, motion to approve regular meeting. Sarah moves. Monica second. All in favor? Okay. Minutes are good. anything for agenda review. What I'd like to do with this is that for all of our upcoming agendas, if someone brings up something for agenda review, I'm going to leave it on there until we actually cover it so that we just keep track of all that. I don't think we've done that in the past, but it would just be a helpful reminder that if somebody wants something discussed, that we'll discuss it. So I'll put on there that I want to discuss town flag, so I will get that on one of ours when Harris is available to come by, but that's coming. Does anyone else have anything for agenda review? Monica?
I would love a flooding update,
Yeah.
especially on the
Yes.
studies.
Hurricane
We talked
season.
about that, and I meant to mention that, so
I think we should do that around September every year because that's when we had our first kind of major.
Yep.
So I think we're due.
I will arrange for Ed to come by and give us a complete briefing on all that, and maybe the folks from Ty and Bond as well, just to make sure we can answer all those questions fully. Great, thank you.
The other thing I've had a lot of questions and comments from public is pedestrian traffic on Norotan Ave right in front of the new construction site. There's not a sidewalk, and there's been several people have reached out and said, oh, that's been difficult from the train station and passing over.
Norton Avenue, where?
You mean on Hollow Tree?
Hollow Tree and, I'm sorry, like right across from the Norotan Heights train station, the new project that's going in.
Oh, Heights Road?
Yeah,
Heights Road, yeah.
I have heard that as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's just a lot of pedestrian traffic with middle schoolers walking, and there's no sidewalk, and
And
there's a
people
lot of
trying to get
traffic
a
coming around the
train,
corner,
yeah.
and it's blind sides, and I'd like
Yeah, it's not
traffic updates on that
just
area.
that, just so everybody knows, I've had a slew of questions about this, and part of the reason I wanted to meet with the police later this week is to get briefed on a few aspects of all that. I've had all kinds of questions, ranging from sidewalks, sidewalk material, bicycles, slowing traffic, speed control, all of that stuff, all has been brought up in separate questions just in the last 10 days. And so there's just a lot of inquiries about that. There is a meeting of the RTM, what's Mark's committee for? Public Works. Public Works. So the RTM Subcommittee on Public Works is meeting on Thursday, I think at 7 o'clock or 7:30. I've been invited to that meeting specifically to address this issue. So this is this Thursday the 10th at 7:30, RTM Public Works Pedestrian Infrastructure. So there was a pedestrian infrastructure improvement committee,
Yes.
that committee. That committee dated from 2015. It was chartered by this
Yeah.
board to come in and look at that, and they came up with a 147-page document
Yeah.
with pictures on everything that covered a whole ton of stuff, not just sidewalks, but not true.
Wow.
There's a lot of stuff that wasn't done, but Mark's committee sent a list of questions to me, and the first question was whether this board was behind the recommendations from that committee. So there is a lot to that. What I'm going to do is try to inform that group based on the work that I'm doing right now with Public Works, folks who served on that committee, police, which I'm meeting with on Thursday, whenever that is, and I'll be ready for that discussion on Thursday to go through that. I actually read the entire report today, so I see where they were going with a number of things. A lot of that actually has been done, so criticisms of lack of sidewalks in the Norotan Heights train station, for example, or another one where we have a lot of trouble is just the Leroy sidewalks going up from west all the way up to Middlesex.
And I know there's some
So
crosswalk requests too and so forth.
Yeah, and there's more to come on all that,
Yeah.
but there's.
The town has changed in 10 years, right?
Yeah, and frankly, we've got new stuff to address. I was going to a meeting the other day, and I come out on Norotan Avenue, and I look up, and there is a boy with a helmet, no more than 13 years old.
Let me guess, scooter?
Okay, he was on a motorized scooter at speed with traffic.
Yeah.
Okay, and so one of the things I want to get a briefing on Thursday is where the police comes out on all this. But it's something that we're not going to address. The Legal Traffic Authority and Police Commission will do that. But in terms of infrastructure decisions that surround whatever that decision is, we need to get up to date on all that stuff. And I think, again, based on my read of the infrastructure report from 2015, surprisingly, that's now 9 years old, and there's a lot of stuff that either we've done or we need to add to or reconsider in that. So there may be value based on how this discussion goes Thursday that we may need to reconstitute that group to focus on some specific areas. But there's a lot more to all this. I won't take up everybody's time tonight, but I'll discuss that in detail with that group on Thursday. And I will come back to this group and update you guys based on that conversation, and we can see where we want to go with that.
I think that's great, thank you, because I think that's been an issue in our
Big
town.
time,
People
big
always
time.
ask me. As a big walker myself, I appreciate it. I wanted to add to Marcy's comment. Part of my concern recently, I stand at the Norton Heights train station in the morning. One of the issues that I see, and I don't know, it could be that it was part of the permit, was the parking for all of the workers. They're now parked on the sidewalk on Heights Road.
Yep.
And along what used to be in front of like Dairy and Donut and so forth.
Yeah.
They're all now construction workers, and it is not a lane for parking, and it is now cutting into the lane that people are going towards Hollow Tree Ridge.
Plus, you can hardly see to get out of Palmer's.
can't.
Well, you can't, but my concern is in the mornings. You've got kids, you've got people getting to the train station, and you now have no sidewalk, and you don't have, it's very difficult. And so I don't know if maybe they did apply, and I don't know because I haven't looked, if they asked for parking to be along that edge, but I think it is complicating issues.
Yep, we will have answers to all that very
Thank you.
shortly.
And Jen, just related to that, if I'm remembering correctly, at our last department head meetings, and I asked, Ed or one of the guys about that area, and someone said something about the builders had committed to some road widening or some improvements before that
Yeah,
property
there's going to be a
comes
left turn
online.
lane for Heights Road going to Hollow Tree Ridge. There will be a left turn lane to go south on that.
Okay.
It'll improve traffic a lot. The other thing they're going to do is that the in-ground signals that coordinate the lights that are all right in there are broken, and those are going to be fixed as part of all this. So just having synced up lights as well as that left turn lane, I think is going to make a big difference there.
Yeah, I would love to see them do something to improve it in the immediate future, because
Right
I know you have
I-
hundreds of middle schoolers that are walking at the end of school to
Yep.
get to the ice cream shop and to get to the cookie store, and there's so many blind spots, it's
Yeah,
concerning.
it's concerning, so I will know more shortly.
Good,
Thank you, Joe.
thank you.
Yep.
Thanks.
Anything else for agenda review? We will keep those three things until we address them. All right, upcoming meetings, we're going to have, we've done, per your good suggestion, Sarah, we have split the department head and Board of Selectmen meetings, so just make sure in your calendars, the Board of Selectmen meeting, which will be virtual, it'll be Monday, October 21st at our usual start time at 7 o'clock, and then the department head meetings will be the next morning, but that's it, no Board of Selectmen meeting that morning. So that will hopefully go along with this. And be quick, and keep in mind, we've also split that up to where not every department head's presenting at those meetings, so we'll have a chance for hopefully better discussion and a shorter meeting, so, okay? All right, that's all I had. Does anyone have anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
I would like a motion to adjourn. I believe Sarah's moving that. Mike seconds, all in favor. All right, we stand adjourned at 8:30. Thank you.